Did you know Monkey Man?
I heard of him and I had seen him, but I never met him personally. I never got into no squabble with him.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you some of the big Crips that were at that time. That was up when it was like just Crips. Crips. You had Tookie, you had O'Neal, Erskine, like you just said, Monkey Man. You had Warlock, Blackie, Pookie, Mike Conception. I believe he had a brother named Larry Conception.
Lewis.
It was Lewis? Okay. Let's see. Oh, man, I'm trying to think of the big name guys. At that time, Jamel wasn't with Tookie at that time. He wasn't hanging out with Tookie at that time. Let's see. Cuse and Rusty, of course. Mouse. Cody Brown. But I mean, hey man, it was a lot of guys, man. But Monkey Man had a rep. He had a rep. I never got into nothing with him. But some guys just had a reputation that traveled further. Yeah. Oh yeah, another little small set I forgot to mention. The Figueroa boys.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about the Figueroa boys?
Well, I had one of the members of the Figueroa boys named JJ that was going to Morningside with us, and he lived over like on 98th, right off of Vermont, right around the corner from a WLCAC supermarket. And through him, we got a chance to meet the Figueroa boys, and they wasn't no Bloods, they wasn't no Crips, they was just the Figueroa boys. They had their reputation. I believe they went from like maybe Century all the way down to Colden, and from Figueroa all the way over to Vermont. It was a small little set, but they could hold their own though.
So basically, so far,
the guy named Bunchy, I think Bunchy was the leader of them.
Okay. It's kind of, you making it kind of seem like all the anti-Crip gangs, y'all had some type of relationship before the Blood came into play.
We did meet up with each other. But this I'm gonna tell you, and I thought about this a little while back. In our mind, we had the Crips surrounded, which was a stupid way of thinking because we were definitely outnumbered. But since we had a set over here, a set over there, a set over here, a set over there, in our narrow gang banging mind and way of thinking, we thought we had the Crips surrounded. But in reality, the Crips had us surrounded because it was way more Crips. When the Crips came, when the Crips scene hit, man, it hit like a real explosion. I mean, it hit like a big explosion, man. I mean, it was it just grew so big. It grew so big, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
When it got bigger and bigger, what's the ratio that you would say Crips to Bloods?
Oh boy, I say we was probably outnumbered 10-1.
Damn. About
10-1. Yep. And so eventually, the Blood sets did start getting bigger, but from the beginning, man, we was totally outnumbered. Totally outnumbered.
Have you ever ran across a guy named AC Moses?
I knew of AC, but the cat I knew from out that way was I met Big Puddin' from out there, and that was a weird experience too because he had rolled up on me one time over in Inglewood, and I was just kind of posted up on 104th Street, right off of Crenshaw, and he kind of pulled up real slow. He was in a Riviera. I can't remember if it was green or blue. He had a Riviera, about a 67 Real. And, he kind of was, kind of mean mugging me a little bit. And then he got out the car, he was talking about, about some Crip stuff. And I'm like, hey, man, ain't no Crips over here. So so eventually he came over, man. We started talking. And, we started talking and we was, kind of socialized there for a minute. Yeah, he was a big dude, man, and but he was cool though. He was cool on that side because I didn't really know too much about the Compton dudes, but I had met him, and then so he eventually did bring some of the Compton guys over to Inglewood, and that's how we ended up getting. That was Family, Chain Gang, APBs, and Pyrus kind of had a loose alliance, and the Brims.
Have you ever been to jail?
Yeah, I've been to jail, man. I've been to jail so many times. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've never done any prison time, but I've done a lot of jail time.
When did you start going to jail?
Man, I started going to jail when I was 13 years old, and that first time I went was basically just average thing what kids do: joyriding, stealing cars.
Is the first time you heard the term Bloods as an alliance? Was you in jail or on the street?
That was on the street, and I didn't hear about it till after I had left Inglewood, and I went back to Chicago one summer, and then when I came back in September, I started seeing blood and cuz roll on the walls.
Mid 70s.
Yeah, mid 70s. I didn't even know what it really meant, and until then I eventually found out.
So going through junior high school and high school, you made friends with all these guys, and they end up joining the Crips.
Right.
What was your friendship like with those dudes?
I'm gonna tell you what my friendship like with them was. Since I was more one of the leaders, it was a thing that I made it my business to keep your enemies close. And a lot of cats don't understand that philosophy. But I would go by their houses. I would literally go by their houses and, knock on the door and go in. And so I wanted them to let them know that I know where all you cats live. I would go to Kenny Robinson's house. I would go to Richard Palmer's house, Larry Price's house. Only person's house I didn't go to was Big Nose Perry because I didn't really like him that much. Keith Iverson's house. I would go to their houses, man. And, just let them know psychologically they was looking at me like I was the craziest motherfucker on earth because like, what's this nigga coming up to my fucking house? And I would actually go in. So, that's a true philosophy, man. Keep your friends close and your enemies even closer.